Welcome to another episode of Primility Primer, our morning reminder of the power of balancing pride and humility as we go about our daily lives. This is episode number 64. I am your host, Jared Morris, and we have come to Friday, the end of another week of Primility Primer episodes. And I have to say that the most joy that I get out of doing this show every weekday is the responses that I get from you. Responses to emails, responses to episodes, responses to topics in the Facebook group, or even emails that I get from listeners who are sitting in class talking about how something a professor said inspired them to think about Primility, and they wrote an essay that they would love for me to post on the blog. That happened yesterday, and I do plan on posting that on the blog. That kind of stuff absolutely makes my day when other people see these connections and see Primility out there in the world and see it in ways that I've never imagined, that no one has really ever imagined before. That really gets me going. So please feel free to send those to me when you think about them randomly, when you sit down and think about them intentionally. I love getting them. It makes doing this so worth it. So I wanted to start this episode out by saying that, and you can look for that essay to come soon. But this essay is also based on responses that I got from you all on yesterday's episode, because yesterday, of course, it was Thursday, another episode of Thank You Thursday. And I wrote something on the blog and I made a statement on the show that was something to this effect, right? Gratitude is nothing but selfish expression if we don't make the effort to communicate it to the people responsible for our feelings. And even when I said it on the episode, I either prefaced it or said right afterwards that I hadn't fully vetted that thought yet. It had kind of come to me, hadn't really sat down and thought about it. One of the drawbacks of recording things live, sometimes you say things and you haven't really fully thought them out. And so I wanted to come back and revisit that today, both myself after having time to think about it, but more importantly, having gotten feedback from you all, because like I said, I love your opinions. I trust your opinions. And know that you think about these things, when we talk about them on these episodes. And so I really, really like hearing what you think, hearing what you feel about them. And so I posted this in our Primility Facebook group. And if you're not a member of that private group, you can go to primility.com/Facebook, request access. I will accept you in there. It's a small but growing group. It's not overly active, so don't worry. There's not going to be, new Facebook or new notifications popping up every 20 minutes. But we get some good discussions going in there. So I'd love to have you if you'd want to join. But we got some responses. And so I just want to read some of those responses and then finish up the episode talking about how I feel about this now. So Jessica said, I disagree. I don't understand how being grateful is selfish or why it must be communicated to be valid. Also, I don't know that anyone has the power to be responsible for my feelings. That's all on me. Sonia says, sometimes it's not possible to express gratitude directly to the person either. So just because I'm not able to make a public declaration doesn't diminish the value or sincerity of my feelings. Stephanie said, I disagree with it because it implies obligation, and I don't associate gratitude with obligation. In some situations, deeply difficult situations, it could be hard or impossible to express gratitude to another person. That doesn't mean the gratitude will morph into selfish expression or dissipate because it's not expressed outwardly. Quite the contrary. It can be very healing to the person experiencing it. If I'm thinking of a grief situation here, the possible contexts are endless. I experience gratitude as deeply personal. Sometimes I do express it, and it feels wonderful and great to do that. And sometimes I don't, and it simply stays with me. That makes me feel good also. That was Stephanie's response. And then Chuck said, I don't disagree with you in regards to actively sharing gratitude with the source. The world will be a much happier place if we took the time to share with someone how much they are appreciated. I do not personally feel that there is some moral responsibility to make the sharing mandatory. Sometimes I just need an emotional pick-me-up, so I take a moment to be consciously grateful for someone and or something in my life. But I believe if every time I thought of my beautiful wife, Amy, in gratitude and then call, text, email her at that moment, besides annoying her by continually interrupting her day, I believe it would lose its significance. Heather, my love, am I annoying you by continually updating your day? Chuck, that's a really great point. And then Jessica actually summed it up with this statement, I thought. Does it make you selfish if you only think about your blessings? I'm not sure. Either way, gratitude in any sense seems better than the alternative. And that's the big point that I want to get from here, because the responses to my statement and my question surprised me And I think it's because I didn't understand well enough how the statement would be viewed. And I'll tell you why in just a second. But I think the big point to take from this is that gratitude in any form, even if all you're doing is thinking about it yourself and you never express it to anyone, is still 8,000 times better than the alternative, because it's better for you. It's better for me. It's better for us individually. We know how much of an impact gratitude has. And just because of the positive effects it will have on us, that will have positive effects on the world, whether we state it or not. Those positive ripple effects will go out there. So there's no question that gratitude, even if never said, is better than no gratitude at all. But here is where perhaps my word choice was bad. Saying that gratitude is nothing but selfish expression. And I think part of the reason why that was bad is I think I was caught up, frankly, so much in my own head with this statement that I didn't think about making it more universally applicable. Here's why. Every Thursday I do this Thank You Thursday episode where I, think about someone I'm grateful for, state it outwardly to you, write a thank you note. And so to me, it seems like just selfish expression for me to do that as part of this series, using it for content, if I don't then express it to the person, right? But a lot of us aren't, maybe don't have a show where we're making a show of gratitude, and I'm trying to make a show of it as kind of a leadership by example thing. Say, here's what I'm grateful for. Now, what are you grateful for? Maybe it can just spur thoughts, spur thank you cards, that kind of thing. That's my whole goal with it. So I suppose maybe a little bit of self-consciousness at doing this every week. Hey, instead of just doing it here on the episodes, I should also tell the person privately. And that's not a universally applicable lesson, that specific part of it. And that's why the word selfish really isn't the right word there, or we need to change a little bit our connotations of the word selfish. Because I think when we slap the word selfish on something, we think, oh, that's bad. Right? Like that's, this person's being selfish or thinking only of themselves. They're so far off the humility scale. This person's pride is going crazy. And I don't think that's necessarily true, because I'm not sure how many of these statements really disagree with what I'm saying. Right? I mean, even, one of them said, sometimes I don't express it. It simply stays with me. That makes me feel good also. Well, that is selfish, but there's just nothing wrong with that. Right? Like there's nothing wrong with using gratitude, intentionally cultivating gratitude to make ourselves feel better, whether we say it to someone or not. And that is selfish. But maybe our connotation of the word selfish and how that automatically kind of, labels something as being negative, maybe we want to rethink that a little bit. But ultimately, I did. I changed my opinion on this after listening to a lot of this feedback, because ultimately what I was doing was casting a negative aspersion onto a certain type of gratitude. And ultimately, as everyone here explained, there's no reason to do that. Gratitude in any form is great. So what's the point of saying, well, this is a selfish expression of gratitude, and this is, a non-selfish, and this, that, or the other? The big picture point here is gratitude is good. Even silent gratitude just to ourselves is going to have a positive impact on us. It will eventually manifest itself somehow in relation to whoever or whatever we're grateful for, because we're going to treat that person well or with kindness or in some reciprocating fashion. And so I just think really it was a statement that didn't need to be made, that doesn't really make an important enough point to be considered beyond what we've talked about right here. Because ultimately the big point, again, is exactly what Jessica said, right? Does it make you selfish if you only think about your blessings? I'm not sure. But either way, gratitude in any sense seems better than the alternative. Jessica, you said it perfectly. Thank you to everybody who contributed to that discussion. Thank you for listening to this episode of Primility Primer, or for watching. If you're not on our email list, go to primility.com/join. You will get the Friday digest, which summarizes all 5 of our episodes from the week, so that if you missed one, or 2 or 3 or all 5, that's totally okay. You can get caught up, see the titles, the descriptions, if any episodes particularly speak to you. And then on Monday morning, you will get our Monday morning email. It's 250 words or less, something hopefully inspiring, hopefully that gets you in the right mindset to have a great, wonderful week. That's the whole goal there. We've had a great, wonderful week here at Primility Primer. Thank you. We'll be back on Monday with another episode. In the meantime, stay cognizant of your pride and your humility and practice gratitude in whatever way you want to, silently, publicly, loudly, softly. It doesn't matter. Just practice gratitude. It makes your life better. It makes the world a better place. Wrist bump.